Good evening, everyone.
That's what I thought too. That's what the plan.
Tonight, we have an informational. It builds upon the one we had previously several months ago concerning some of the marketing tools that have been produced. Tonight, you will see where these tools, these videos, in fact, hear about where they're going to be placed in different mediums and the strategies behind that and all the other stuff that comes with that. So I'd like to welcome Maria Miranda and Mary Broder and thank them both for all the work they've been providing the city. And I'd like to turn the floor over to you.
Are we good? Everybody here okay? Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council members. Honored to be here to talk about a follow-up from our discussion from May of this year. So it's a marketing update and a couple of overview points from when we last worked together. So during the 2018-2019 fiscal year, the NORS defined a $25,000 line item for marketing. Okay. These very, very limited funds would be used effectively to help our community build awareness and get a foothold with some very specific target populations. We're looking to have the greatest impact and the best return on investment. Ideally, these efforts would also increase a positive brand awareness for the city. What follows is a transparent presentation and a concise overview of the plans underway regarding these inaugural marketing dollars. As a footnote, there are other initiatives going on within the city, the Global City, Boundary 66. These projects don't fall under the scope of this relationship, very specifically to these budget dollars. Everybody okay? How are we doing on sound? Okay. So as a reminder, we talked about our goals being very smart and specific. Every aspect of what's going to be our 5-pillar program has some very defined measurements. We wanted to be able to track what we were doing and be able to present that to the City Council and the city as a whole. In addition, every investment that we're making has a secondary benefit and purpose. For example, if we purchase a trade show booth system for our presentation out to General Dynamics, that then becomes an inventory item that we can use in other opportunities. During the presentation, we're going to be reviewing the first months of the approved plan and what to expect in the months ahead. So as a reminder, these were the pillars that we spoke about back in May. The first one was to maximize the opportunities presented with what's happening with General Dynamics and Electric Boat through a participation in a GDEB sanctioned event that took place in May. We want to maintain the momentum of our growing food and brewery environment here within the restaurant industry. Of course, we wish to retain and grow established businesses already in Norwich through outreach, education, and development. Looking to shift the brand impression and increase awareness among potential homeowners as to the unique property offerings here in Norwich, and using local resources to create testimonial videos to support these efforts, developing an inventory of reusable video products that could be used for a number of years. As a reminder of our breakdown of our $25,000 budget, this is how it's spread across the pillars, and as of today, either spent or encumbered, we're at $24,900 within this budget, being spent exactly as we outlined we would do so back in May. We're going to be focusing our time tonight talking about the video process, but also how it relates to other activities. You may ask yourself, why do we invest in video as being one of our anchor elements? The first thing is flexibility. If anyone has done any watching of content on YouTube channels or even looking at videos online, there's often a pre-roll video that happens before you get to the video you wish to watch. All the videos that we're presenting tonight can be reduced. You will see the ability how they could be reduced to 10-second, 15-second, or 30-second segments to be used in other places with the investment of one filming. You will also notice that they can be combined together. Each of the videos you're seeing are no more than 1 minute. So they can be brought together for a longer picture or a shorter picture. So for example, we could pair the restaurant video you're going to see with the lending video package, and the two messages could be combined together to talk about restaurant opportunities plus supported lending programs. So great flexibility. It's a universal platform. It can be used across a variety of medias, and there are captions that could be done in a variety of languages. It's shareable. You could both share a link, or you can provide an actual file on a disc or on a DVD if someone needs it in that format. It's engaging, of course. It's storytelling. The voices you're hearing are members of our community talking about Norwich themselves. And it complements other forms of media. Speaking of compliments, one with an E and one with an I want to compliment our colleagues and friends at Barnberry Productions here in Norwich. They were a locally sourced Norwich vendor who produced these videos. And I will say, unabashedly, they went above and beyond what was budgeted for in the producing of these videos. And I also want to recognize my colleague, Mary, who's here tonight. She wrote all of the scripts and attended all of the filming to make sure these were absolutely perfect videos. So thank you, Mary. So where are we going to be going from here? I'm going to address this housekeeping first because I want us to focus on the videos as they roll out. So these will be accessible and they will be promoted. You'll be able to find them on the NCDC website under the navigation City on the Rise. That is the universal theme for these videos. They also will be available on the NCDC YouTube channel and a playlist dedicated there. Of course, we'll be sharing them via social media, email, and they will be used as other outreach kits to each of the 4 pillars we mentioned before. So, for example, we will share these with the Board of Realtors, so the realtors are aware of some of the messaging we have available. I'm very proud to share all these videos with you tonight, and you'll be able to follow them at home later. I've actually even brought popcorn with me for you to take home to watch the videos at home. I'm not allowed to actually share it with you in the room here right now, which is a great sense of self-control for me. Okay. A copy of this presentation will be shared, of course, with the minutes from the city website. Any questions so far? Okay, here we go. All right, so pillar 1, maximize the opportunities related to General Dynamics and electric boat. So on May 26th, the city of Norwich participated in a full-day matchmaker event at the Mystic Marriott, sponsored by federal, state, and regional economic organizations in coordination with General Dynamics and electric boat. I want to share with you that of all of the communities that are impacted by EV, the city of Norwich was the only municipality who was there. And that was noted by everybody in attendance. There was over 500 or nearly 500 attendees there and 128 prospective businesses that were looking to work with Electric Boat General Dynamics. These are enterprises that are looking to potentially do business with EV, and clearly there's a benefit for those outside of a realistic traffic pattern to locate to Eastern Connecticut to do business with this large organization. So having a municipality be there to talk about available properties and partnerships made a great deal of sense. Let's talk about tangible actions that happened. Clearly there was positive brand exposure among those that were there. We had ad placement and also a rotating display screen. The total approximate impressions were about 18,000 impressions of the brand for our investment to being there. This is where the term the City on the Rise messaging began for us. We created collateral on behalf of the city, and it paired with the Industry on the Rise message about Electric Boat and General Dynamics. We also were able to expand our database of individuals that were there in attendance, and that was added to our email database for being able to do continued outreach. And last but not least, we created a professional reusable outreach system. So when we go to future events, we have a kit ready to go. Okay. Let's share a related video to this, which is Workforce on the Rise. Everybody ready?
Education. We have great schools here.
Here at Norwich Tech, we have 12 different trades. We have our electrical, we have plumbing, we have automotive, health tech, but really we find that our students are finding career placement as soon as they graduate from our school.
As we speak, we have 19 students in the manufacturing pipeline program, so we're preparing those students as well to have the tools that they need to get not only a job, but a job that can sustain them for many, many years to come.
Fortunately, we have qualified people here on staff who can produce the courses and the curriculum that is responsive and work with the people at EP to make it happen.
They are going to be graduating with trade skills, with certifications, So no matter what trade or business they decide to go into, they are going to be prepared to be employable adults.
So, any questions so far? Right, in the current unemployment market that we have here, it's significant that potential businesses coming to our area know they can find a skilled and viable workforce. Excuse me one moment. Okay, moving into Pillar 2. Continue to develop a growing reputation for restaurants and breweries. Once again, Norwich broke some barriers. We are the first and only municipality to join the Connecticut Restaurant Association, which provides us access for a $400 annual fee to the membership database, content placement of outbound emails, shared social media content, and other marketing opportunities. Planning is currently underway for a spring event where Norwich will host members of the CRA and their peers, seeking to showcase our community, available sites, incentives, and other unique selling propositions. We're currently in conversation with a local and nationally known supply chain provider for them to offer educational programs at their facility as a benefit to them and also as additional draw for this afternoon or evening event. While we're gearing up for the spring, we're currently partnering with the CRA, commercial real estate partners and restaurant supply resellers to share information about Norwich, developing a list of qualified leads, and passing those leads on to the team at NCDC for follow-up. So let's talk about this related video for restaurants on the rise.
I'm passionate about putting out the best quality product, and I'm passionate about doing that in America.
It's wonderful to know that there's a lot of support from the community and that people are behind us and they really want us to succeed and grow, and that they want really great things for Norwich.
We all grow together or we don't grow at all. That is a secret weapon that Norwich has, that no other town has.
The business relationships here are honestly the best I've ever experienced.
It's a really heartwarming feeling.
This downtown, you can feel the history. You can see it in the architecture and the bones. And we got several people down here showing, yeah, you can. And we're doing it. It's a beautiful thing.
As scary and as rewarding as it is, it's a peace of mind knowing that I have such a great town backing me up and telling me, hey, we can do this. We'll make this happen all together, you know?
Okay, can I have a round of applause, please? That's great. Isn't that beautiful? I love our community. Okay, from there, let's go to our next pillar, which is the promotion of home ownership within Norwich. For those who are not familiar, through social media, specifically Facebook and its partner program Instagram, it's possible to target population through these apps by age, geographic location, and some aspects of their search history. For example, are they currently using Zillow to locate and look for housing? This pillar raised awareness for unique properties in Norwich. What we have here, historic, mid-century modern, architecturally preserved, well-priced starter homes, etc., by running Get More House in Norwich as a theme of these ads. We initially proposed featuring a specific property selected by the Board of Realtors, but we wanted to make sure we stayed within compliance, so instead the ads feature a rotating collage of a sample homes and links to realtor.com for listings specifically to Norwich. How did those all do? Okay. We ran from June 25th to August 31st, raising awareness about the properties. For example, the content here says, get more history, more details, more room, more equity when you buy a house in the reimagined community of Norwich. The ads ran from the City of Norwich Facebook feed, were served on Facebook and Instagram, and we targeted 2 geographic areas, Groton and London, individuals working around the EV space, and also the Greater Hartford area, promoting the very accessible and easy Route 2 commute. I commuted to Hartford from Norwich on a regular basis. I would get there first compared to my friends coming across 84 trying to get into town. Okay? So the ads received over 165,000 impressions, 1,000 clicks through to the Norwich properties themselves, realtor.com. I want to remind everybody our budget was $1,000 on this. Groton New London outperformed Hartford, which I found very interesting, for 631 of those clicks compared to the Hartford market. We built a bridge to a stronger relationship with eCar, and again, we were the only municipality supporting such efforts. We were the only one with the EB initiative, only one with CRA, and the only one partnering with the Board of Realtors in this. As a secondary benefit, we hope to see a growth in the followers within the city of Norwich, and we saw a significant bump happen when we started running these ads. Okay? And the benefit to us is we were then able to retain a market that we can communicate other elements that are going on within the city. Any questions? Are you guys always this quiet? Okay. We received some data from CERC. You might say to yourself, what is the economic impact of residence or home ownerships? Right? It pretty much speaks for itself, what the percentage of residential property tax is compared to the total grand list for Norwich. Let's talk about our related video. Norwich is home.
Norwich provides me with everything that I need in a home. It provides the entertainment, it provides the health, the groceries, it's all there.
Feel very safe here, very comfortable here. It's so nice that you get to know all your neighbors, you know who they are.
Coming from Vancouver, I really wanted my daughter to have a worldly cultural experience, so we chose Norwich.
There's a hospital close by, there are good schools close by, there is now a wide selection of very different restaurants close by. How much more would you ask for?
I've lived in many different places before, and there's nothing like Norwich.
I love living here.
Norwich is home.
So again, this video will be also shared with the Board of Realtors and through our partnership with them so that the real estate agents in this region have a renewed perception about my hometown. Pillar 4. Yeah, thank you, Bob. Pillar 4, retain and grow existing enterprises. Okay. Currently in development, we've chosen the headline, Did You Know? We're developing a series of fact sheets. Bye, guys. We're developing a series of fact sheets talking about, through direct relationships, distribution, email, and chamber partnerships, about the opportunities that exist here within Norwich, our opportunity zones, commercial leasing, workforce investment opportunities, educational programs, and the resources of Norwich public utilities. We have created an accompanying video to this, and this will be the last one we'll be sharing this evening. Come grow with us.
Well, the first thing that we would do is listen to what your dreams are. Listen to what your dreams are. You want to understand what you want to accomplish. Resources that are giving you.
Sorry, everybody. Let's try that again.
Well, the first thing. Well, the first thing that we would look to do is listen to what your dreams are and understand what you want to accomplish to give you the resources that are going to make you a success, or at least get you to where you want to go in your business.
There are several local banks that have offices here in Norwich, all of whom have commercial lending teams, all of whom are very experienced and capable of offering the precise product and services that a new business needs to be successful in their industry.
Because when you open a business, you're not only helping the economy, but you create jobs. So we want to help because it's our neighborhood too, and we want to grow. We want to help our business owners. When you succeed, we do as well.
So that concludes our presentation for this evening, and I welcome any comments or questions as appropriate by policies for City Council. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council.
Thank you very much. Any members like to ask some questions or comments? Floor is yours. Yes, go ahead, Joe.
So, first of all, great job on the videos. I think it's wonderful. I think it is about time that we start using the media, social media, to tout all the great things about this city and increase that buzz and get people that want to come here and do business here and live here, all the things that we say are important to us. So I appreciate the work that you've done, and the results are wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Anyone else? Yes, go ahead, Steve.
It's a great job, and I concur with Alderman DeLucia that it's long overdue that we should be talking about the great things that are happening in Norwich. But I was wondering, is there any way, are you tracking any leads that we generated from the trade show? Are we tracking leads that we generate from the Connecticut Restaurant Association, from the realtors? And when we get that lead, who's sending them the information? They're getting the video. What's the follow-up to that?
Want me to take that on? You want to take that on? Okay. Make sure I'm still. Okay. So each of the pillars will have a different way of tracking and a different response mechanism, right? So, for example, you could see the immediate tracking and the follow-up when it came to the Facebook ad materials that happened, right? The growth of our own environment, our own Facebook followers for being able to do that. Where there are leads that are brought in, such as what happened for the electric boat General Dynamic event, it moves into our email opportunities issued out by NCDC. And we'll be able to track what they're opening and what they're looking at to see what their interest is. So it's a constant process along the way. For the CRA side of the house, our next horizon for them might be their event that's called, believe it or not, called the Crazies Awards, where all of the restaurants come together and a booth display there echoes the process that would happen for Electric Boat and General Dynamic. So each one of them will have a pattern, and they'll enter into our email database first. Hopefully, we're also looking for them to be social media followers for us, and then move into one-on-one conversations. Helpful? Bob, please follow up.
Let me just add to that, the one-on-one conversations and the whole time, the follow-through is the business of NCDC. So you'll notice all of these videos in with, go to ask NCDC to call. And if they get logged into our tracking system and the source and the nature of the lead come into there. And so we will be and are tracking all those various business leads that come in.
So we're sending them out a copy of the video, or sending them information as a follow-up, or is it just a personal phone call that says, what are you interested in doing in Norwich? You want to move here? You want to start a business here? You want to grow your business that presently exists?
The answer would be sort of all of the above. The videos are really just now coming out, so
Okay.
we haven't had those available. But the earliest opportunity was, glad to see you at the show. We had a presence there. We'd like to see if we can connect with you. And then for those that we have connected with, it's we're looking for a place for our business, and this is what we do, sort of thing. So it goes into the tracking system, follows it that way. After tonight, we will begin to continue the marketing efforts, to continue to cycle through over and over and over again with people as much as is reasonably possible, but not to just let it be one and done type of thing.
Okay, great, thank you.
If I could just add to that, on the 30th this month, we will be attending a state-sponsored workshop on the opportunity zones. The state is finally got a point where they feel comfortable in presenting how cities can maximize those opportunities if you were given that designation through the U.S. Treasury's office. And all of this data will be going with us and make that available to those contacts that we make there as well. It's like the chambers when they network. We have to network. We have to make this a reality, part of what we do on a regular basis. And that also includes, I believe, quarterly reports coming back to our council as well, giving you updates on what the data is showing us. Is there an actual opportunity? Is there a discussion taking place? Is someone coming here with a company, for example? Those kinds of outcomes must be shared regularly, and that is our focus. But the next time this really gets used in a serious way, we'll be starting that day on October 30th down in New Haven. Yes, Joe?
Are we,
sorry.
regionally, I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Are we regionally promoting this, or is it just local, state, city? I mean, are we going outside of New England? Are we going to the Midwest? Are we going into the Southwest? Are we going down south? I mean, the promotional videos were impressive. I like them, and you know, I've sat here for a while now begging and pleading for us. When I remember visiting my sister-in-law in Allentown and watching a video for a city in Ohio, begging people to come out there and move because it's the best place in the world to be, and I, you know, kind of differ with that opinion. So I'm just wondering, are we just sticking with our local, statewide, or New England region, or are we going to reach?
Sure. Is everything okay? Yes? So remember, we have a budget of $25,000, right? So we want to make sure whatever we do, we have to do so at a level we're saturating in awareness. So that being said, there are members of the CRA, the Connecticut Restaurant Association, that don't just have locations in Connecticut. They have other environments, right? There are individuals outside the area that go to Zillow and look up Norwich properties and then get tagged for us to be able to reach them in social media. So I think the best opportunities for us will be looking for individuals that have some qualifier and then sending our information out to it at our modest budget level versus trying to do a broad stroke. So we will reach outside the area. It may not be blatantly obvious, you know, maybe when we get the budget of that town in Ohio, we can do so.
Okay.
But what we're doing, if you think about it, we had 1,098 individuals. That basically was $1 per person for them to click on the listing of Norwich properties that they may not have thought of otherwise. And 630 of them were geolocated in the greater Groton, New London area during the business day, right? That's wise money. We can drive the right population to the right site.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, anyone else? Yes, Joe?
I guess so the next level of analysis here is, for me, is going to be how will, because I didn't quite hear the entire question about tracking, how will we be looking at tracking this in terms of knowing what our market penetration is, maybe making refinements or adjustments to the targeted market, right, to get the highest return on investment? I mean, are those metrics and those mechanisms already in place? Is that something we'll have to develop as we progress?
So a few mechanisms are already in place. There's Google Analytics on the NCDC website. There's also metrics on the YouTube channel and metrics on our email system. So any outbound communication we have has a turnstile on it so we can get some sense of the follow-through that happens for any one of those. If they're registered, you know, I'm giving away some of the house, you know, back of the house tricks for my industry, but if there's any persons registered for an email to receive one, that sender of the email knows exactly which email address and which individual accessed and looked at different content. So what can then happen is automated communications could go out. So let's just say, for example, we have a membership with the CRA, looking to have them issue out with us this video about the real estate properties and opportunities for restaurants and breweries in Norwich, right? We'll know which restaurant groups opened up our email because of the email addresses, and then we can look to send a follow-up automated communication to them. Just like I shared with you the data, what I knew about our Facebook ads to this point, and the electric boat event to this point, as we go through and we do fulfillment, everyone will have a metric I can happily share with you. I find it very intriguing and very informative.
Yes, Alderman Burnham?
Well, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
So, and that's great for the restaurant pillar, okay, but what about the housing pillar and the industry pillar? How will we know, you know, 100 clicks generated one inbound email, or generated 10 inbound emails, which then resulted in one property sale or one new tenant in a commercial endeavor?
Sure. So, you know, this is the partnership between a client and the marketing firm. right? I can bring the data up to the point of conversion, follow-up, and fulfillment. And then what happens is from the client side that they offer perspective as to what they saw for leads or opportunities. So it'll be a constant communication of both of us to share with City Council.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Alderman Burnham?
I was just gonna, sorry. Sort of, yes, but that was my question is, at the May presentation, we discussed process measures versus outcome measures. And so these are counts, and they're great. This is a really great start. And I think the next step would be to start, even though the handoff and the transformation occurs from the handoff, and then that materializes in whatever that is. I think now is a good time to start planning on how you're going to measure those outcomes and how it results in a thing or a growth or,
So, for example, we went to the Board of Realtors to say, can we get any measurable metrics from their side about housing sales, et cetera? And they couldn't necessarily, of course, advise that our ad resulted in X activity, because it could have been 3 or 4 activities that happened. But I do know that in the first couple of weeks that we did it, we had to change the photos of the pictures a few times because the properties that were shown were no longer available. Right? And again, I can't necessarily connect the dots between one to the other.
Yeah, causation versus correlation, and that's fine, but you have to start somewhere. So I think that correlation is a good place to start, and each of those pillars try to develop some of those things, so that can then be a plan that we can strive towards.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you very much.
My pleasure.